What is up, everyone? Welcome to It's Been a Week. I'm your host, Ben McDonald, and this is your weekly dose of whatever the hell just happened. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to It's Been a Week. This is our 9th episode. Holy shit. And that might not sound like a big deal to any of you guys, but it is a really big deal to me because from what I've read and from some of my research, which we know I'm not doing that much fucking research, but they say that 80% of podcasts don't make it past their 3rd episode, and only 10% of podcasts, only 10% make it to episode 9. So we have made it to the 10%. We're in the top 10%, which is amazing because here we go. And I got to say, like, this podcast is a lot of fucking work. And I'm not I love it. I'm not complaining. And I knew it would be work, but I didn't realize how much work it was going to be, right? Like, I thought, oh, I'm just going to get in front of the camera and the microphone and just start talking, and it'll be great. Between planning the episodes, the social media, the clips, the editing, it's a lot of fucking work. But it's amazing. It's super rewarding. I love it. It's like a full-time job. And I'm trying to make it amazing. I'm trying to make it, make it something that people want to listen to, which amazingly, you guys are listening. I also read an article that said if you get 30 listeners, you're in the top like 10% of podcasts or 25% or some bullshit. And I was like, holy shit, if we only had 30 listeners, I don't know if I'd be doing all this. But there's been thousands of downloads. Like, it's crazy. When I started this, I don't know, my friend Danielle told me, like, you got to be okay and you got to be good with 10 people listening. And I was like, yes. And the fact that there's thousands of you that are listening to this, it kind of blows my fucking mind. I'm not going to lie. Because I remember the night before the first episode came out, I was like kind of panicking, and I was like having a little bit of imposter syndrome. And I was like, what the fuck am I doing? I'm like, who the fuck do I think I am? Like, who's going to want to listen to me? Like, what? This is crazy. But you guys have continued to listen, and it's growing, and I knew also, like, the first episode, because when I was doing the whole launch of announcing this shit, I mean, let's be real. I fucking acted like Beyonce's next album was dropping, but I hyped it up so much that, and I knew I had a lot of people kind of paying attention. So I was like, okay, the first episode, I'm sure we'll get a lot of listeners because people are going to be like, what the fuck's he doing? Whether they're haters or fans that are like it or friends, whatever. I just was like, people are going to be like, what the fuck's he up to? But the fact that you guys are continuing to come back to listen, like, I'm like kind of blown away. I'm just like, wow, this is really fucking cool. So I really do want to say thank you for that, honestly. Also, I know I've asked before, but I'm going to ask again. I'm probably going to ask multiple times. Whatever you're listening on, if it's Apple or Spotify or iHeart or Amazon or YouTube or where the fuck else is this podcast? I don't know. Wherever it is, please hit that subscribe button. And please, if you can, leave a review. And not just like click the 5 stars, but like if you write out a review, oh, dream. Love you. Even if it's a bad review, I don't care. You can be honest. I can take it. I mean, I dish it. I can take it also. I love the feedback. But no, the reviews and the subscribers, it really, really helps us continue to grow. So I'm going to ask you one more time, please leave me a review. And it really means a lot. In this podcast, like, it's going to continue to evolve, right? Like, I'm learning as I fucking go. When I started this, I didn't know how to do this shit. I didn't know, like, I didn't know what equipment I needed. I didn't know what I was doing. As you can see behind me, if you are watching this, the studio, it's still under construction, but it's getting there. It's progressing. It's getting better. It's going to be, I'm working towards that. But like the equipment, all the stuff, how to do the postings, how to edit this shit. Like, I'm literally learning as I fucking go. So you guys are all on this ride with me. And this podcast, it's going to continue to evolve, right? We're going to see what works, what doesn't work. And in general, it feels like, I start with my rant, fuck I need to bitch about that week. Then there seems to be some kind of an interview, and then it's the after show with AJ, which has been great. And this week is going to be the first week I'm doing a solo episode. There's no guests this week, which is kind of weird because I'm like, just sitting here talking to myself. But I'm not, how do I put this? I don't want this podcast just to be like I'm an interviewer, right? Like I want to interview people. I want interesting people to come on here, which I have some, by the way, I have some amazing, really fucking cool people that are coming up soon. But I want it to be also just be like, or a couple weeks ago when I did one with Morgan and she was my co-host and we're just like telling stories and she was helping me with the story. It wasn't necessarily that I was interviewing her, but we were just like here together. You know what I mean? So I want this to be, I want us to continue to evolve and just kind of see where this is going to go. But I hope you guys are enjoying it. And I also want to make sure that this podcast, I never want this to be a negative podcast. Does that make sense? Because my humor, obviously my humor is very crass and it's very, I love to poke fun. I love to bring light to things that fucking annoy me because here's the other, and I love to swear as we all, if you've listened this far, there's going to be swearing. I just think the things that I talk about, I feel like so many people can relate to. I feel like so many people agree with me. Most people have a filter that makes them a decent human being. And I just spit shit up. I mean, I just say what's on my mind. And I also I just think I'm saying what everyone else is thinking. But I don't want it to be like negative that all he's doing is bitching and like it's negative. I want it to be funny. I want this to just be like a casual conversation. I want you guys to feel like you're hanging out with your friend and we're just, shooting the shit. So I hope that that's what I'm doing. I hope that that's what I'm achieving. And like I said, I'm open to feedback. I know that I dish it. So I'm also like, I'm no bitch. I can take it too. And so here we go. I got my first solo episode. I'm going to do this on my own. I got some rants. I got something that's really fucking pissing me off. And I got some stories about my fish, which the fish seem to be a never ending saga. And of course, then we'll get AJ's take on it, which I'm sure he's going to be like, what the fuck are you doing? He thinks I'm crazy all over the place anyways. But anyways, the moral of this intro is I appreciate you. I'm so thankful you guys are here. Please tell your friends. Let's help this grow. I mean, look, we're getting on. There's a lot of people listening. We're not Call Her Daddy yet. We're not Joe Rogan. We're not Smartless. But fuck, we're working towards it, right? So please tell your friends. Please keep listening. Please leave the review. And let's get into it. Okay, so for today's rant, this is something that seriously boils my blood. It gets me so fucking pissed off. And it takes a lot for me to get mad. Like, I get annoyed very easily, obviously, and I'll call people out on their shit, but something to actually get me really angry, it takes quite a bit. And let me tell you what makes me fucking pissed is when people put their dogs in the back of trucks, let them run around while they're driving. I think it is the stupidest thing you can do. I think there is no excuse for it. And I actually think it should be illegal. Like, I just think people who put their dogs in the back of trucks, you don't deserve dogs. Because honestly, I like dogs more than I like fucking people. But you really don't deserve to have a dog if that's the way you're going to treat it. And let me tell you why. And I know I'm going to get fucking people in my DMs because I've posted this on my Instagram stories before and I get fucking people responding, being like, well, Old Blue's been in the back of the trucks for 8 years. My grandpa's been doing it. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a flying fuck what your grandpa did, what you've done, how you were raised, how you grew up. I don't want to hear it. I don't care. Because here's what's going to go down. You're going to be driving. And mind you, I see this all the time, especially here in Texas. And I live on a road that is 75 miles an hour. I have seen dead golden retrievers. Not that the breed matters, but I have seen dead, like every type of dog you want to imagine, I have seen dead on the side of the road. And let me tell you how this is going to go. You're going to put your dog in the back of the truck and you think this is so country and you're so fucking cool and your dog's tough because it goes, no, fuck off. First of all, and everyone goes, my dog will never jump out. I go, yeah, they don't jump out until they do. Okay. Or there's an accident. When you are going 75 miles an hour, what happens if a car cuts you off? What if you have to swerve? What if you slam on your brakes? Who knows what the fuck could happen? I mean, that's why they're called accidents, but why put your dog at risk? I don't get it. It makes no sense to me. I mean, I'd like for these fat fucks to get their ass in the back of the truck, stand up and let me drive the truck and let's see how long you last back there. Because I can guarantee you wouldn't be able to just keep your balance and stand up back there. Ain't no fucking way. And here's the next thing that's going to happen. So your dog's going to fall out of the truck and luckily it might survive. And when it does, you're then going to go on Facebook and you're going to start a GoFundMe because you can't afford the fucking vet bills. And it's going to be some $10,000 surgery. And you're going to be like, boo-hoo, poor me. I can't afford it. Please help me save my dog. which I probably will because I like the dog more than you, and it's not the dog's fucking fault that you're a dumbass owner. So yeah, then I probably will donate to your fucking GoFundMe. But here's the deal. This could have all been avoided. And now I'm a solutions person. I don't want to just bitch. So I'm going to give you some solutions here. Okay. Let's run through scenarios, right? Someone goes, okay, my dog goes in the back of the truck. First of all, I go, why? And then I say, why don't you put your dog in the truck, in the cabin? And let's just come up with excuses. Let's say your car is brand new. The dog's muddy. You don't want to get your truck dirty. Okay, fine. Let's say the car is full. Let's say you have a whole family going and there's no room. Okay, those are some scenarios. So my solution would be leave the dog at home. Let's not bring the dog because the dog actually doesn't need to go everywhere. But you want to bring your dog. Okay, fine, fair. Put your dog in a kennel and strap the kennel down to the bed of the truck. Problem solved. Now, accidents can still happen, and not everything can be avoided, but a lot can be avoided there. So why don't we just strap the dog down, put him in the back? There you go. Problem fucking solved. I see so many people here in Texas, they have these flatbed trucks. So for my city people who don't know what that is, it's like basically the back of the truck doesn't even have sides or a back. It's just like a flat sheet of metal. And these dogs are back there and these people are going 75 miles a fucking hour down the street. It makes no sense to me. If you do this, you don't deserve dogs. And I don't want to hear your justifications. Don't DM me and be like, well, we've done it forever and our dogs are working dogs. I don't give a flying fuck. I really don't. Just quit doing it because you look like an idiot. And you are an idiot. And if you do it, you don't deserve dogs. And this isn't like an agree to disagree situation. This is just a fucking I disagree with you. So that's where I stand on that. And that's what I just think is true. And if you are going to do that, you're an asshole. Because that's how I think. So there is our rant for the day. Now we're going to move on to our interview, which is actually going to be with myself this week because I'm flying solo. So we're going to get into this fucking koi pond and the drama that's happened there. If you're not into fish, guess what? It's still going to be an interesting story. So here we go. Okay, so here at the ranch, we have a koi pond, and this koi pond is like, it's going to be the death of me. It is, out of all the animals we have, which let me tell you, we have horses, dogs, cats, chickens, a parrot, a saltwater tank, a pig, a donkey, a mini cow. I'm probably forgetting goats. I know I'm forgetting something. We have a lot of fucking animals. The most high maintenance thing is this fucking koi pond. And now, if you've heard in previous episodes, I did an episode with Margaret Josephs, and we talked about I had a koi in the bathtub because there was a whole thing. If you listened last week, you heard about my obsession with fish, where it started stealing the fish. So let's take this back to where fish started, and then I'm going to progress to how this koi pond it's holy shit. So I don't know why. Ever since I was a child, I have been obsessed with fish. Like having pet fish. I don't know why. I can't explain it. I love having a fish tank. I think they're gorgeous. I think they're fun. I love the ocean. I'm all about it. So growing up, someone gifted us a fish tank. I mean, it was like free. And you start out going to the fair and you win like the little goldfish. And I'm like, okay, woo. And it's like the 10-cent goldfish. Then it turned into wanting another tank. And then you get into tropical fish and I'm like getting angelfish and the Petco, all those types of fish, right? And at one point, I had built like a shelf in my room where I could have like 8 fish tanks displayed. Like it looked like you literally were walking into fucking Petco and you walked to my bedroom. And I had all these fish tanks and all this shit, which really, I mean, I don't know how stable that was. It was probably like you couldn't touch it too hard. Everything would come crashing down. And then I saw Finding Nemo for the first time, which changed my whole world because I was like, wait a minute. Why the fuck am I having these peasant fish when I can be having these cool ass fish? So then I got into saltwater fish, which if you listened last week, you heard the story on how I actually stole a fish from the store and had to go to court, and it was a whole ordeal. And the judge told me, she said, I think this fish hobby is really cool. Like, stick with it, but don't steal the fish, pay for them. So since then I have paid for the fish, right? We're all on board with that. When we were in LA, I got a huge fish tank in my apartment, which was kind of crazy to think. Like, I mean, I don't even know if the apartment could support the weight, because fish tanks are like super heavy. Like this is, you know, thousands of pounds. And I just assumed, I'm like, it'll be fine. And in LA, I used to go get all this coral and I'd get all this stuff. And during COVID, the only things that were open during COVID was like essential things. And LA was so strict. Everything was fucking shut down. So pet stores were considered essential because, you know, you need fish food or dog food or whatever. So I was so fucking bored during COVID. I think I set up like 6 fish tanks in our living room, and AJ and I had only been together for a few months. And I think he's like, what the fuck is happening? Why does our apartment look like SeaWorld? And I was like going out of my mind because like I had already watched Tiger King. There was nothing more to do. So I was like, I'm just going to go get another fish tank. And I'm like, well, today we're going to have seahorses, and this one we're going to have an octopus, and this one it was crazy, but I literally was so bored. So I just kept buying all these fish tanks. Then when we moved to Texas, I was like, okay, this is crazy. I can't move all these fish tanks. So I like sold a bunch of them, and I was like, I'm just going to take the big one, the main one. Do you know how hard it is to move a fish tank across the country? Let me tell you. I hired this fish store to come in and like take all the fish, take all the coral, take everything. And they were going to keep it at the fish store. They were going to set it up in a tank and like put a sign that says like not for sale. Great. Then we drain the fish tank. I bring it to Texas empty, set it up here. And when you set up a fish tank, you can't just like throw shit in. It's like there's this whole cycling process. It takes like a month. So I get the fish tank here. I set it up, get it going. And then in a month, I'm ready for all my fish and coral. So I call the fish store and I'm like, hey, I'm ready. So they are going to FedEx overnight me all the fish. And I knew this was going to be expensive because like the rocks are heavy and like a lot of the coral was attached to the rock. So you couldn't not have the rock. My fucking FedEx bill was $2,000. But I was like, what am I going to do? Like, I can't, it would cost more to replace it all. Plus I have to get it. I don't know. What? So I just was like, okay. So $2,000 later, I get like 8 boxes from FedEx. And these things weigh like hundreds of pounds because it's like water and rocks and all the shit. And pretty much everything survived, actually, which was very impressive. So now in my office here at the ranch, in my office, I have a huge fish tank. I have all the fish and coral, and that's continued on. Great. One day, we were laying in bed, and this was like when we first got the ranch, or, you know, within the first year. And AJ's like, hey, look at this DIY fucking koi pond thing. And I was like, that's cute. Let's build that. Fun. So we build it. It's like a stock tank, and we landscaped all around it. We got all this shit. Let me tell you what, this looked like some trailer trash bullshit. I mean, it was awful. It was a fucking eyesore. I'm like, this is not working. But we had all the koi already. We got all these fish. So I was like, if we're going to do this, let's like do it. Let's get a big pond and a big waterfall, and let's just go for it. Well, I get a quote for $30,000. And I was like, well, fuck that. So I was like, I can build this myself, right? Like I'm capable. And yeah, now that it's all said and done, all the work and the time and the money that's put in, it's probably cost me more than fucking 30 grand. And plus I pulled my back out and done multiple things, but whatever. So I decided we're going to build the koi pond. I rent what is that machine called? Like an excavator? I don't know. Some fucking machine that digs holes. Dug the hole, get everything going. I get the plumbing. Mind you, I'm like learning as I go, fucking YouTubing shit. I did all this underground plumbing, get the whole thing set up, got waterfalls, all the things. And I'll post some photos or some videos of this so you can actually see what I'm talking about. The amount of times that this pond has fucking leaked or broken or drained, it is a constant headache. This fucking pond, it is always something. I was doing all these DIY filters, like with barrels and different types of rocks, and like doing nothing works. Nothing fucking works. I am not like, I have a lot of skills in life. This was a tough one. So I finally bit the bullet. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to buy this really expensive, really nice filter. It's like automatically cleans itself. It does like the whole shebang. Well, while we were in Mexico, we experienced, like a 2 days here where it got to like -2 degrees, which I don't know if it was actually -2, but like the windshield was -2, right? Everything froze. Pipes are frozen. Everything is frozen. So this filter that is supposed to be so magical and fucking amazing, some of the mechanics of it froze, so it quit working, but the pump was still pumping water into it. So now the water, if you imagine, the pump is in the bottom of the pond, the filter's not working, but the pump is still going to the pond, so it is just fucking overflowing and overflowing. All the water drains from the pond, all of it gone. There is like 2 inches of fucking water in the pond. So AJ's dad calls me in a panic and is like, your fish have no water. They're like flopping on the bottom. I'm like, holy shit. Mind you, I'm in Mexico. Like, what am I supposed to do? And all of our pipes are frozen because it's so fucking cold. So, and all the hoses are frozen. So I go into panic mode and I'm like, well, trying to think quick here. So I'm like, oh, I'll call the fire department. So I call the fire department and I'm like, hey, I need water. Is there any chance you guys can bring me like 5,000 gallons of water? And they were like, no. And I'm like, well, what the fuck? Don't you guys like save cats out of trees and shit? And aren't you supposed to help people? Like, I need help. And they're like, well, we don't do that. And also our water is like super chlorinated. So it would kill all your fish anyways. And I'm like, okay, all right, on to the next. So then I fucking called Culligan, like, your little water dispenser you go and you get, and it's like, like water jugs, like 5-gallon water jugs. So I called them and I was like, hey, can I get a quote? I need 5,000 gallons of water. And they're like, what? And I go, and I need it like now because like the fish are dying. And they're like, no. And I was like, God damn it. No one is fucking helpful around here. So the fish are dying. I'm freaking out in Mexico. Thank God for AJ's parents, because his dad somehow got one of the spigots, is that what they're called? Spigot, in our well house to actually work. And it was not frozen. And I was like, okay, great. And then he's trying to get all our hoses, which all the hoses were frozen. And we have some shitty ass hoses that don't all like attach together, and it's a mess. But he somehow made it work. So I'm like, oh my God. So the pond is filling back up with water. And then our holding tank, which holds all the water, we drained that to fill the koi pond, which, because everything's frozen, that was not filling back up. So the koi had water, but the rest of the house and nothing else had fucking water. So long story short, the fish are alive. The fish are well. They were having to like get a bucket and scoop water out of the pool to put it in the back of the toilets so that they could flush the toilets. It was a total shit show. This koi pond, it's just, if anyone is out there and you're contemplating a koi pond, please use this as, don't fucking do it. It is a nonstop headache. It is nonstop work. We've had, like I said, we had the fish in my bathtub. I had a 40-inch koi in the bathtub. Okay, she was taking an Epsom salt bath. She needed a spa day apparently, and now she's doing fine. We're about to leave for Miami. I woke up this morning. Water's half gone because some other pump has malfunctioned, and it is just like, don't get a fucking koi pond. That's the main point of this conversation. As much as I love fish, and I do, like, it's a fucking headache. And talk about, it's been a week. These koi have been a week. Here's the other thing. So when I first started like buying these koi, because koi like aren't that cheap, FYI, I would just go on Craigslist and I'd find these like, I don't know, these people on Craigslist that were selling koi, and I would like go to their house. I mean, it sounds like totally I could have been murdered or human trafficked, but I literally would go to these random people's houses. You go in their backyard and you like pick out fish. It felt very like black market. It felt very like I was buying drugs. And then they would start hustling me. Like they would start texting me, being like, hey, you want a new one? I just got this color in, or, ooh, look at this one, or this one. And AJ would be like, Ben, they're fucking hustling you. And I'm like, I know. And it's working because I'm on my way to go get another one. And then I was introduced to Japanese koi, which I was like, what the fuck is this now? And apparently the ones that are imported from Japan are way fucking prettier, which I was like, that's bullshit, until you see them. And then you're like, oh shit. I mean, it's like going from, shopping at TJ Maxx to shopping at Louis Vuitton. Like, it is a total difference. It is you can totally tell. They're so much prettier. Their colors, the patterns, all the things. And they're about 5 times the price. So once I got into Japanese koi, I was like, well, I need these peasant koi out of the pond. I'm done with these. So now I've like eliminated all those, and I have all Japanese koi now. So they're all these fancy koi, which now I feel like I have to do all this extra work to keep them alive because they're so fucking expensive. And I probably should have just kept the peasant koi, which, by the way, speaking of the peasant koi, we did in the beginning have a few incidences. I like to say like the pond got COVID, because there was a few times where like the whole pond would get wiped out. One time we had these switches in the house, and I always wonder, I'm like, God, what do these switches do? They don't turn anything on. Fun fact, they turned on the outlets outside. which is where the koi pond is plugged into. So when you flick the switch, you kill the power. And fish need oxygen. And when the filter quits working, they have no oxygen. So that was a sad morning to come out and see everyone belly up. And then there was another time we were in Hawaii at a wedding, and poor AJ's dad, oh my God, every day, like more would just die and die. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? And we came home and he had put them like all in our barn in the freezer because he didn't know how to dispose of them. And they're huge. These aren't like your little goldfish that you see at Petco. These are like giant ass fish. And so that was another sad incident. But we are on our third round of koi now, and everyone seems to be doing pretty well. So that's a positive note. And I don't know. I guess if there's anyone out there who knows if there's like, meaning behind fish and koi and obsessions and why that might be, I guess I'd love to hear it, because whatever it is, I fucking have it. But yeah, so I'm going to post some photos. I'm going to share some photos of the koi and the fish because I do think it's interesting. I do think they're pretty. But yeah, that was the koi pond. It's been a week. It's always fucking something. And this was my first like little solo episode. It's a little weird because I'm just sitting here talking to myself, and like, look, I'm looking into this camera, just speaking to myself, which is a little weird, but I think it's okay, right? I mean, I'm sure I'll get feedback from you guys. So that is what I have. And I'm sure AJ is going to have shit to say in the after show. He's going to be like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm like, I don't know. We're talking about fish today. Okay. So that's what it was. And it's been a week. All right, everyone. I will see you next Tuesday. Thank you for listening to that episode of It's Been a Week, but don't touch that dial because it's not over yet. Get ready for the after show. Been there, done that with AJ. Well, we're going to get AJ's take on whatever the fuck I just said. Okay, how should we start this?
I don't know, because it's been a week.
It has been a week.
It's been a week because we started it out by coming back from Cabo, and then we were home for a couple of days, and then ended up in Miami for this incredible 40th birthday party that our friend Slim threw. And we just got back this morning at 10 a.m. because we got up at 4:15 in the morning to get on a flight.
I mean, party was amazing.
It was unbelievable.
Like, in fucking insane, all the stuff he did. I mean, it was wow. But yeah, we literally were home for a few days after a week in Mexico. Went there, we partied our asses off, got up at 4 a.m. this morning. Like, I've been in bed all day, and I'm like, I'm still sweating out there.
I haven't, because we are leaving in 2 days.
I know.
To go somewhere else. And so I've been like running around trying to get stuff ready for that, which is amazing. Like, these are really incredibly awesome problems to have, if you want to call them even problems. But
I'm just tired. I'm tired.
Yeah, I know, but you need to liven up. Come on. And here's the reality. I love the episode. I love that we got to hear from you. I obviously hear about this all the time, because anytime we see an animal riding in the back of the car, I swear, it's like you automatically switch and you're like, I can't believe that's happening, which I completely agree with.
Well, I just think it's so fucking stupid.
It is stupid. I mean, I can also understand, like, the people, like you said, the freedom of it and the joy maybe of like their animal having the air blowing, but like, it seems really irresponsible.
What? I never said that.
No, I'm saying that that's what they probably would feel.
I mean, let your dog stick their head out the window if you want. Sure.
Yes, but I think it's irresponsible. And for, the animals that we see on the side of the road dead, it's disgusting. That's a whole other thing. Never in my life have I ever lived anywhere before where we're driving and there's just like dead dogs on the side of the road. Like, I don't mean on the highway, like in our town. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
When I was driving, there was these 2 dead dogs on the side of the road, and I stopped and I called the police, and they were like, yeah, we just leave them there and let nature take its course. I'm like, that could be a kid's animal that they're going to be driving down the road and see or recognize it. It's fucked up and weird.
But isn't there a service that's supposed to pick up like roadkill and everything in general?
Yeah, I mean, I would think like animal control or something, but I don't know.
But I remember that was like German Shepherd. It was there for a long time.
And another dog too. There were 2 dogs. The koi fish, though. I mean, listen, these koi fish, my poor father.
I know
what he's had to do, and my mom obviously helping, but like, the 2 of them, what they've had to do with these damn koi fish, and the fact that this did start out as like a small, cute little ranchy project in the corner, and now has turned into the most elaborate, beautiful, you've done a great job, koi pond. At
Rock garden.
point, you're like, hey, AJ, come here and help me carry this rock. I mean, it's like a half a ton or something. And you're like, well, just pick it up.
Well, when I bought the rock thing, that was a whole nother story. Because when I went to the, I don't know, what do you call it? The rock store?
Quarry.
Sure. I go there and I'm like, okay, like how much are these rocks? And this guy's like, okay, well, this one, it's 0.001 cent a pound. And I was like, load it up. I picked out like 6 of them. I'm like, yeah, we'll take them all. And then they put them on your, like the trailer, and you have to get on a scale. And then they gave me the bill. And I was like, oh shit, that adds up, because it ended up being like $600 a rock. And I was like, oh wow, the pounds add up real quick.
Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty big rocks. You have to show some photos. But if it is in a koi pond, it's a rock. It's a
rock
garden. Yeah, you did a great job in the episode. I am just still so focused on the last 3 days at least, or 4 days that we've had in Miami. Our friend Slim did such an amazing job putting this 40th birthday together. I mean, we know what incredible events are like because we're so fortunate to be able to go to a lot of them that our other friend throws, and it's like unbelievable what she does. And he just lived right up to that incredibleness of throwing an amazing, amazing weekend. It was like a wedding. It
really was. But each event was just such detail. I mean, dancers, to the decor, to the menus, to the music, to the like everything. And everywhere we went,
tension. It was incredible.
And everywhere was like transformed. It was a fucking party, more.
Well, his line was more is always better. And like, it totally felt that. And the people that were there, it was such a great group of people. There were so many people from all over the world that came in for it. And it was just, we were spoiled yet again in celebration of his birthday. So happy birthday to you, Slim. We love you. It was incredible. And now you've been sleeping all day, but I've been running around doing errands, and I can't wait to go to bed so I can get a good night's sleep, so we can unpack and then start packing tomorrow for this next trip.
Yeah, the next trip we're going on is our friend's boat in the Caribbean, and it's going to be insane.
It always is. Everything that she does is insane.
It's crazy.
She's the best. So I'm really excited. I think you did a great job on your episode.
My first solo episode.
Yeah, it was good. I love it. Like, it's been a week. We all know the podcast is about you. So I think it's good that you're sharing some of the things that are important to you. And your mom was a big part of opening up that door for the fish, and then being able to tell more about the fish. And I love that you're so so sensitive about these dogs and animals in the back of the truck. And like, maybe someone's listening and they're going to make a different decision. And that if that happens, then it's worth it.
I hope so. Well,
time for bed.
It's time for bed. I mean, we got to get to fucking bed. And we have like a day. This is crazy. I don't know who the hell we think we are. But next week's episode will be good. And then the following week, it will be all about, I'm sure, what happens on this crazy trip.
Yeah, that's going to be amazing. But next week episode, I can't wait for everyone to hear. It's a crazy story.
Yeah. So on that note, we're going to bed. We need some fucking sleep. And I'll see you next Tuesday. What is up, everyone? I have a question for you. Have you ever done something so wild, so hilarious, or so ridiculous that your friends are still talking about it? Do you have a story that happened to you this week that are going to leave jaws on the floor? Well, here's your chance to tell it on It's Been a Week. Head over to itsbeenaweek.com, scroll down to the bottom, and let me know why you should be the next guest. Bring me the drama, the chaos, and the laughs. I want it all. No story is too crazy, no perspective too bold, and nothing is off limits. So, let's pour a martini, spill the tea, and make a conversation to remember. Submit now, and I cannot wait to talk to you soon.